Hi, it's Corinna from Engagement Hub. Just showcasing today the Radiant Study Engagement Hub platform, which is by the University of Queensland. They used an Engagement Hub platform to conduct their research into creating weight-inclusive care for women in maternity services. So what they were using the platform to do was to collate research on women's experiences of going through maternity care. So this is the front-facing part of the platform. Now, as you know, with Engagement Hub, a lot of things go on in the background, and we'll talk about those a bit later. But just showcasing a little bit about their front-facing Engagement Hub platform. You can see here they've created a beautiful graphic banner, which was created specifically for their platform and really well branded, using headings and heading colors and different font sizes, a larger font size to really bring and tease out some of the information. Using the above footer content here to showcase the partners and people involved in all the logos, and used a lot of the latest news feature as well, that was always coming up into the footer. So going into their actual one main project, which is the front-facing engagement project, explaining all about the research. You can see how they've used the sidebar timeline here, the who's listening, but they've actually really broken down their information using, larger font, headings, images here, and it's very well branded in terms of using all of their colors in their headings and buttons and backgrounds of. So you can see here they're choosing to use a colored background here in the sidebar, but not in the main body. They're also using the latest news. That was a tool they use very often. And then using here the related projects tool to serve as a bit of a record of all the media coverage that they received, some of the academic papers, and some of the presentations that were done through as part of the research. And as well, if you did have presentations, those could be embedded if you had a video presentation or anything like that as well. The University of Queensland also made great use of the parent pages at the top here. And so they're using an explainer video and lots of information here about anybody who might want to take part. Same for healthcare professionals, to register their interest and display that information there. And also to display information about their team, who is working on the project, and their lived experience group here. But a lot of the work with the study obviously went on in the background using private projects. And this is one of the reasons that the University of Queensland chose an Engagement Hub platform, was because of the data protection and privacy. And they needed to be able to create a safe space for women to be able to share very private experiences. And so using the private projects where people invite only, and people were unaware of the other groups and what was happening within the other groups, was a really great feature for the University of Queensland. It also enabled them to broaden out their research. So rather than, they could reach those rural and regional areas, drive that 24/7 access, and really create that sort of diverse study through all of the population through Queensland, as it is such a diverse and large state. One of the other great things was about creating and defining access for their researchers. So through their SRM, they were able to define access to certain areas of the data, like demographic information in the SRM, and give that access to the research team. So to being able to define and change those permission levels was also another really great feature for the team, to be able to allow access to the data, but only in certain areas of the data. So how the study worked was that they had online workshops, which they used the events registration tool to drive registration, get RSVPs, and share the links for the online workshop. At that workshop, they were asked to go away and find or create images, which they could then come back and share with other participants and create that engagement and talk with them about it, something called photo voice by the researchers. So I was privileged to sit down last week with Dr. Beck Jenkinson to talk about their use of the platform, and I'm able to showcase some of their private projects here to show you, even with the names redacted out. So they're actually using the Extended Ideas Wall tool, and they're using that to share people to upload these photos or images that they've created, and then to ask specific questions. So they had 3 specific questions here. People could vote on them, people could comment, people could follow each other. So they were using all these features, which really enabled people to get involved and share and say, me too, and I had this experience, and to really give the researchers a rich sense of people's experience going through maternity care. And I think one of the unintended almost benefits of this was that at the end of the research, people actually requested to be all put together so they could simply filter within the SRM and invite everybody to one project where people are now continuing, even though the research is nearly complete, continuing to share those experiences because they've created a community of people who are now actually becoming activists and working in committees and groups in this area. So the real benefits of the Engagement Hub platform are still being seen following. So another thing I wanted to bring to your attention is this wonderful group agreement image that was part of every private project. Now, this is just a really great way to say, this is how we want you to engage in this space. This is how we want you to be sort of respectful of others. And I think it's a great way that other clients could take forward in maybe private groups or public groups to actually say, this is how we want you to engage. These are the rules of engagement within this digital space. So just wanted to showcase a little bit of behind the scenes of how this platform had been used. A lot of the tools were also used during, like the quick polls, like the events, like the newsletters, and also the SRM used extensively to sort of bring together the research and the reporting.